Hey Luke,
Hi, Jake. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing well myself. This is pretty cool. I actually get a chance to see you and talk to you. This is awesome.
Well,
Very.
thank you, man. Yeah, now you in Badgerland, I hear, huh?
I am up I'm up in Wisconsin, and like it's even in the western part of the state. It's still it's all Badgers. It's all
All
Packers.
Badgers. I have one of my dearest friends in the world is a Badger, and is actually a number of my buddies are Badgers, and my friend Steve Bornstein, his son is there right now.
Oh, really? Oh
His
my
son is there
gosh.
right now as a freshman, just starting out.
Oh wow. He's Steve Bornstein's from ESPN. Was it
Oh,
at
look
ESPN?
at you, man. Look
That's
at you,
right.
Luke. I love it. Yeah. And another dear friend, Kenny Dichter, who founded Marquis Jet, and he has something called Wheels Up now. A great friends of Barry Alvarez, and Barry is the president of the state of Wisconsin. That's what I know.
he, he pretty much could. I mean, he could be with the sports icons we have in our state. He probably could be like governor for life if he really wanted to be.
I think it says it in his made for Cadillac that is inscribed. There's something there, Luke. We can talk about that. I'll call him out on it right now.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I mean, that would be nice. I think you'd be pretty close to a 100% approval rating, and that but even me, I'll be perfectly honest. I'm weird. I'm a Wisconsinite, but I'm a somehow I ended up like a Gopher Viking fan. That being said, I would approve of Barry Alvarez as governor of Wisconsin. I'd respect the heck out of that guy. He would be
He's
awesome.
he really is a sweet, sweet man too. Sweet, sweet guy. Sweet, sweet
Mm.
guy. So you got me here. I'm actually in London,
Yeah,
and
overseas. Yeah, what's the reaction over there as you're heading around?
it's been awesome. I had no idea, Luke, that this, look, I've had a label, Body by Jake Music, with Universal Music for this is going on 12 years now. And in the beginning we did these compilations, we were selling CDs and then downloads and now streaming. And the playlists have done it very nicely. And my dear friend Bruce Resnikoff, who kind of runs things over there at Universal Music on all the licensing side and all that, we had a lunch, and I've known Bruce since I did my album in 1984 when he was a junior attorney. And the story goes, I gave him a thank you on the back of the album, and to this day he says, I've amassed all this, knowledge, and I'm one of the big dogs at Universal Music, the old days MCA Records, and he goes, and no one has ever thanked me on their album except you. And then I did an interview for Rolling Stone, and thanked him again, and he says this is crazy, but we were having a lunch talking about refreshing the playlists. And he just said, Jake, Beyonce and Drake are getting ready. This is a number of months ago now. Are getting ready to drop 80s dance albums, and we're going to re-release your album. I go, get out! Are you kidding me, man? This would be crazy. And Luke, I hope you saw the music video.
I
Uh,
did. I watched it. Wow. Oh my gosh.
I'm telling you, man, it's redigitized. It looks like
Mhm.
it was like we shot it last weekend
Mhm.
at Spielberg's house on Broad Beach. And with the exception, back then there was so much beach and so few homes. Now it's the opposite. Um, but to see Priscilla Presley's boyfriend at the time, Mike Edwards, who was the number one male model in the world, play the nerdy guy. And one of my brothers played the bully, and I sort of reenacted the old Charles Atlas back of the magazine, back of the comic books. The guy trying to get in shape in his bedroom because his girl was taken away by the bully. We reenacted it and had a great guy named Bobby Caldwell, who had a big hit in the 70s, What You Won't Do for Love. Um, Sing Don't Quit. And which is, we'll get into that in a second. It's not only my motto, it's my mantra, it's everything I believe, it's my mission, and it's my Bible verse and all of that. And composed a great song called Don't Quit. But to back up for a couple of seconds, you know, music has always been a big part of my life. I mean, look, as a kid growing up, I was an overweight kid. I had a bad stutter growing up. My dad bought me a set of weights when I was 13 years old, and the weights changed my life. Not only did the weights build my body, but built my confidence and self-esteem. And I immediately started reading muscle magazines, and I actually went out for my 8th grade basketball team because I was a great basketball player, Luke. I'm just being honest with you, because my mother said, "You're a great basketball player," and I wasn't really a great basketball player. I loved it, but I went out for the team. First time I stepped out on my own, and I got cut. And I'm a huge believer in 3 things in my life: hope, health, and family. You know, I believe that when you have health, you have life. When you have hope, no matter how crummy the days have been, there's always that belief that tomorrow the sun will come up and good will happen. And family, whether it's your immediate family, your friend group family, the radio station family, a Badger family, whatever it might be, you always know that someone has your back. And at that moment, and I'm a big believer in life is about moments, a friend saw I was down, handed me a poem called Don't Quit. And not knowing anything about anything, I put it in my pocket. I was upset. I went home. I read the poem. And the last 2 lines of the poem go, "Stick to the fight when your heart is hit. It's when things seem worse that you must not quit." And it just sang to me, man, and became a Bible verse to me. And I always said that don't quit. And in 1981, I trademarked the words, "Don't quit," and kept it close to my heart and who I am and everything that I believe in. And as I said, music, when I started exercising in my bedroom in Baldwin, Long Island, down in the basement, you know, I had a poster of Jimi Hendrix on one wall, a poster of Alice Cooper on the other wall, Grateful Dead on the wall facing me right now. And I used to love to listen to Frank Sinatra's I Did It My Way. And incredibly eclectic. And I went to every concert on the planet. I mean, from The Who to The Dead, Cream. I mean, Cat Stevens is to this moment, and I love that. I love him. I love his music, and just it relaxes me. It puts me in another place. Simon and G. I grew up with those guys, man. I love Simon and Garfunkel. Billy Joel. I love, but then I bounce all over the place. So I love music. I love exercise, but exercise is boring. And when you have great music, man, you can get a great workout in. And when I started to do what I was doing in LA, I was the first guy to do personal fitness training and made it an occupation. We could talk about that on the next show we do together. You know, I started training all these big Hollywood stars and going to their homes, like Steven Spielberg, Priscilla Presley, Harrison Ford, Barbara Streisand, Warren Beatty. And I learned an incredible lesson, Luke. These people are no different than us. They're just like you and me. The only difference is they had a dream, and they never quit on their dream and never took no for an answer. And, you know, it gave me all the incentive in the world to say to myself, you know, wait a second, I might never direct ET2, but I'm going to have my own success in life. And I was able to parlay that famous by association into videos and books and television shows. And in 1984, as I was preparing my first exercise video at MCA Home Video with a great guy named Gene Giaquinto, who made my deal with a handshake, by the way. You know, you can't get those days back. The 80s, it's like bodybuilding in the 80s, man. Like I said, when I got to LA in 1970, summer 77, I said, when the dinosaurs still roam the earth, you know, Schwarzenegger and Lou Ferrigno and all these guys. Uh, and here I was seeing what was going on with music and everything in the 80s. And I got to know this girl named Kathy Nelson. And Kathy Nelson did the first soundtrack to a feature film, Flashdance. And I started thinking, wait a second, I'm going to do my first exercise video. Why don't I do the first original soundtrack to an exercise video? And let me tell you what I'm thinking. What if I can, not only have great music that you can work out to, because at this time, let me just frame it for you, Luke. It's 83, Jane Fonda, Jane Kennedy, Victoria Principal, and a number of these terrific women were doing exercise records. And what I mean by that is you would go to your record store and with a Tower Records, whatever it was, and there was an exercise bin. And Jane would have this kind of whatever background elevator stuff, and she would go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And that wasn't my speed. I wanted real artists, real music, fresh stuff that you can work out to, that you can bang around in the car with, you could do your housework to, and it puts a smile on your face. Because I'm a huge believer in the greatest antidepressant in the world is exercise. When you're anxious, you have anxiety, you're stressed out, you're angry, you're mad, you're sad, whatever mood you're in, exercise. Just get your body moving. And with the right kind of music and exercise, it just pumps you up. It just puts you in a different zone. So because Steven Spielberg was like a big brother to me, I went to him, I pitched him the idea. At the time, his girlfriend, Kathy Carey, had a publishing company at MCA Records called Unicity Music. And she was working with a great guy named Ronnie Vance. Ronnie Vance's brother was in Jay and the Americans. And Ronnie was an executive that came from Geffen, and he was around artists. And I sat down, Spielberg I call Wheels. So I said, Wheels, this is what I want to do. He goes, I love the idea. Let's call Irving Azoff. Irving Azoff was running MCA Records. We set up a meeting. I sat down with Irving and I said to him simply, look, you have a lot of artists that don't have enough content to make their own album. What if I had the opportunity to maybe break an artist while I was doing something really different in creating an album with my exercise video and my book? My book was coming out with Simon & Schuster, which is at the time a little too much information for a lot of people, but I just want to set it up. The book was with Simon & Schuster, which was owned at that time by Gulf and Western. Competition to MCA Records, MCA Home Video, MCA TV, MCA Films, okay? But I was able to because of, once again, the relationships that I had, and I talk about this a lot as an entrepreneur, your Rolodex, the relationships that you build in your life is so imperative, so important to you. Always keep them good, always keep them fresh, be in good standings with all. And I went to Irving Azoff, I pitched him the idea. And as I was pitching him, I said, but I need one artist that at least has a name. Now, this is summer of 83. So we landed upon Bobby Caldwell. And Bobby has an incredibly beautiful voice and loved what we were doing, sat down with him, came up with Don't Quit, talked about the music video. And at that time, you probably know, Luke, and a lot of your listeners maybe know, MTV wasn't the only music video channel. There were 3 or 4 other music video channels. But we actually got to number 2 in heavy rotation on MTV. And the song which I broke, and you probably know as an old radio guy, man, on Z100 in New York with a guy named Scott Shannon, the Morning Zoo. And it look, things just started to happen, but I'm going to back up. I get too excited talking about it. The sun is, honestly, the sun is out here in London, and and it's just a beautiful thing. But so we had Bobby, and then we started to listen to other people's music. Michael Sembello, just coming off of Maniac, right, for the film Flashdance, ended up doing a song for me called Pump It Up. And he was incredible. And then we had Maxine Lewis, who I don't know if you know much about Maxine, but
a little bit, yeah.
Oh, you do? Okay, great. Because, first of all, she was in the Ikettes with Ike and Tina Turner. I mean, brother, to have this kind of talent. And she was doing stuff on her own. And she sang a couple of beautiful songs for us. And then, then we had another terrific, great guy. Once again, I told you I was at Spielberg's house, and John Williams, the great composer, was there. And I'll never forget this. We were talking about the album, and John, now remember, this is 1983. And John said, that is a really interesting idea. He said, my son is an artist. And do you think maybe that you might be able to audition or, do a couple of songs? I said, of course, it's John Williams. What am I going to say? His son is Joseph. Joseph does 2 songs, right, for us, lead singer for Toto, which he became, and to this day is still the lead singer for Toto. And I've got 2 incredible cuts of music, folks, before Joseph Williams was Joseph Williams. He
sounds great too on that. But he sounds like he does today with the band. Like, wow, this is like archival stuff, but it's on this album. It's a gem.
It's a gem. I mean, and that's really what this thing is. And Kamal Peterson, a great R&B, an R&B soul guy, did a great tune. I don't want to allude to it. I just want people are probably thinking, wait a second, Body by Jake, he's talking about records and music? This is crazy. But the reception has been incredible. Leslie Smith, another great guy, man, whose voice is as silky as can be, man, sang a couple of great Jimmy Cliff remakes. They were, I mean, when you get it and you listen, you can get it. You can get it. I'm not going to start because you'll turn me off. You'll crash your car if you listen and drive it in the car. That's why I produce and I don't sing. You see?
Were you in the studio? Oh, go ahead.
No. I was going to say, but all in all, it was the experience of a lifetime for me because I was able to be in the studio with these guys, and to have it. All I said to each artist, by the way, along with Kathy Carey and Ronnie Vance, I can't take it. It was a team effort, and these guys guided me every step of the way. I gave them what I wanted, which was give me upbeat, give me something that if you're sad, I'm going to make you happy. If you're feeling down, I'm going to get you pumped up, but not to the point of it's something that you wouldn't want to listen to in a way that you can turn it. Instead of level 9, you'll put it to level 3 or 4 and really just hear good, positive music. And that's what this is. And when it all came together, everybody kind of looked at each other at MC8 Records and said, holy shit, we got something here. And it was something that we did a 12-inch for the dance clubs. And we actually got the number 56 on the dance charts, which I'm quite proud of. And I think the reason it didn't do better, and Luca, this is what you learn over the course of time, that as much as I love seeing my mug on the cover of things, I probably shouldn't have put my mug on the cover of the album, because like I told you at the beginning of the conversation, back in the day, there was an exercise bin, and my album went into the exercise bin. And if it wasn't for us releasing the single on Z100 in New York and got played around the country and having that music video, it probably just would have gone bye-bye, immediately. And I just smile when I talk about it. It's great when I hear people's vibes. I mean, I've been doing so many different shows like yourself, and people are playing cuts and they're just bouncing to it. And especially today, like we said, with, Janet Jackson just dropped an 80s dance record too. And I said, hey, Beyonce, cool. Drake, watch out for Body by Jake.
Well, okay, you mentioned being in the studio with these folks. And some of them are covers, some of them are originals. So how much, as again, you're executive producing, you're not like the producer sitting at the, and I'm referencing here because literally the board in the studio
is right there. Yes.
Right. Yeah, you're not like doing the faders and everything, but you're overseeing the project. So what's it like trying to get that energetic vibe? I can tell you as an example, listening to the album, even the first two tracks, I found myself doing, I kind of call it the 80s dance where you're kind of going back and forth like that. But like it just kicked in like without even thinking about it. And I have to admit, I was born in 78. I was too young to like be fully in. Like, I don't know why, it's just osmosis, but it was there. So it clear something was happening. So how are you guys figuring this out as you're in the studio to try to get them to get that positive, energetic vibe?
That you just said it all, man. And just you could just sort of put your words in my mouth right now and just bring it back. But you're right. I didn't produce. I didn't sit at that board. I'm enamored by the guys like Richard Feldman and Rick Kelly. Andre Fisher produced a number of the records for us. Andre came from a band called Rufus, and started dating Natalie Cole and married Natalie. So and I mean, all these different things that I've been around, and all these people to be able to sit with them and just talk, and they were also receptive. And I think, fortunately for me at the time, I mean, I was on TV 27 hours a day. So you couldn't get away from seeing me. And I think each of these artists were like, hey, this is kind of cool. The dude's not going to sing with me. He's not going to tell me how to sing. I just gave a little bit. And I'm a pumped up guy, as you can see. And I said, just have fun and think about yourself in a very boring workout or exercise and how do we color it up? How do we tune it up? How do we get somebody when they're in their car at a red light, just lost a job or a girlfriend, smiling again, or not feeling so great? How do you get them pumped up? Or how do you get somebody who's doing 27 reps and he wants to get to 50 or she wants to get to 50? I wanted to get a 50 when she's listening to Pump It Up.
So now you're on the album too, because it's not just the songs. Then there's the other.
I was waiting for that, man. I was waiting for the question. Well, so I was masterful at phony phone calls. I'm just letting you know. In my day, this was before caller ID, which destroyed my career. Of me making phony phone calls to friends and people I knew, and I always did voices. And when we were doing the record, I said, I want to do something really different. I want to do some interstitials where in between each cut, I do a little bit. And the bits, some of them hold up great. Some of them, I think I'm like, Jesus, I didn't know Jake was a drug addict, And that'll be the lead to your show. As I'm saying those words, as they came out of my mouth, I said, shit, why'd I just say that to Luke? But he's a badger. He'll take care of me.
But it's all in all, it's a fun listen. It even to this day. I have to imagine that the video was you were talking about that earlier on, getting that big crowd of folks together. How'd you recruit that all? Because it looks like it was a day, what was like a day shoot on the beach. And then you got the end part, you guys are walking off and everyone's waving bye-bye and everything. So how do you recruit all those folks and say, let's be in a music video?
Well, it was really interesting because I went to the gym that I worked out at. I got a bunch of people. I actually have my father, who has since passed away many years ago, but he's in the video. I got my brothers. I have my little sister there. And I recruited anybody that we could find. I mean, we had, so I don't know if you know this, but I was Lou Ferrigno's double the first season of the Incredible Hulk television show, and then I moved to the Universal Studios tour as the Incredible Hulk, and I met all kinds of people, and there were a lot of ex-circus people. So you'll see there are little people in the video because they were, listen, I have friendships with an amazing amount of humans. And we collected a lot of them for this music video, and it's hysterical. To look at it again, and Luke, to see it, the way what Universal was able to do in redigitizing. I mean, it truly looks like we shot it last week. We shot that summer of 1983, brother.
Mm-hmm. And what was the most fun part of that whole video shoot?
I think dressing Mike Edwards up, as the nerd, reading Dickweed Digest, which was we had an extremely huge budget, which I think I had. I don't know. Someone that I knew, I said, please, could you take this magazine, put Dickweed, Dickweed.
That explains it. I was trying to figure out what that was. Okay, now it makes sense.
It's Dickweed Digest. That's what he was reading. And I think the thing that I had the most fun doing was the actual reveal of Mike, because he really played that nerdy guy so well that in the gym, I mean, look, the dude is a specimen. He was an incredibly handsome man with a great physique. And we kind of put him in a shirt and all kinds of stuff, and had him wearing glasses. And when I took the glasses off him, when you watch the video, and I take the glasses off, it's like Clark Kent in Superman. And you take the glasses off, and the dude looks like Superman. And he gets up, and I said right there, I go, oh shit, this is gonna work. And this is going to work. And Bobby did such an incredible job. It's such a sport. Everybody was such a sport. And each one of the artists really took a chance with me. I'll give you one funny one. We listened to lots of different singers, artists perform. And I would say, oh, I like that guy's voice. I like this guy's voice. And Ronnie Van said to me, he said, Jake, I want to bring a guy in. He's going to be a big shot, and I think he'll do me a favor. And I said, okay, great. So he comes in, and this was back in the day when you would come in with your tape, and we put the tape on the reel to reel, right? And we played his song, played some of his music. And I'd say he's a very nice guy. I think he was from Virginia Beach, Virginia, which, interestingly enough, years later, I did a sitcom on the Family Channel in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And I thought, hey, great dude, great, but I don't know. I don't know if he's going to make it. I don't know if his voice is that great, very honestly, Ronnie. Turns out to be Bruce Hornsby. And wait, Luke, hang on. So I'm doing my sitcom called Big Brother Jake on the Family Channel. This is 1991, 92, 93, 94. Great Italian restaurant in Virginia Beach. If you guys go there, Aldo's, great spot. Tell them I sent you. I haven't been in a while, but it's always awesome. And I'm with my cast, right? Because after on a Friday night, when we would finish shooting, we would shoot two shows. We would shoot an episode twice, a dress show and an air show, and we edit together. And I take the cast out to eat. And people are whispering, and I go, what's going on? I said, that's Bruce Hornsby from Bruce Hornsby. I go, oh shit, like that. He goes, and now you got to remember, this is 84. So this is 10 years later. This is 10 years. And he comes walking over, and he goes, hey, Jake. And I go, oh, hey, Bruce, how you doing? He goes, remember me? And I go, yeah, I do, man. He goes, and you never wanted to use me. I said, listen, man, what can I tell you? And we had a good laugh about it, and he was dynamite. And but it was one of those life is about moment thing where he said, remember me?
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. And the funny thing is that like he did show up that same year in the Strut video, which I was not expecting that. Like I remember catching that like a couple decades ago. Like he's wearing the sunglasses, playing the keyboards there. So he was. I mean, he did a tiny bit of a breakthrough. But imagine if he'd also been on your album that same year at the same time. Could have happened.
Could you imagine that? All I'll tell you, Luke, is that there's another gem that I can't really reveal now, that this person wasn't on the album but did something else for me. That for when we're able to talk about it, it's going to blow your mind for our next conversation. But it was truly exciting, and as I said, the music industry has been so important to me, and what I've been able to do along with these great artists. It's just fun to see, and I want to, with all due respect, thank Beyonce and Drake for dropping '80s dance records, because it gave us an opportunity again to talk about this record. I was able to reconnect a great guy, Peter Bonetta, great producer. He and I reconnected 2 or 3 months ago. We had some lunch at Soho House in Malibu at the beach, and although we only spent a couple of weeks together, it's like being on a production. I'm sure you know. It's like you really get to know somebody because you're with them 12, 13, 14 hours a day. And we picked it up right where we left off in '84. And it was just delightful. It was just delightful. And to reconnect with some of the artists, it's great to see. It's awesome that we could bring some real joy to people every day, especially today. And I don't want to get too heavy on it, but with mental health issues and all these different things that people deal with today, sometimes to put on some music that you can, like you just said, you all of a sudden it's osmosis, man. Whether you grew up in the '80s or you were born in the '90s or the 2000s, you just start doing that '80s thing, baby. That's it.
Doing that, yeah. It just comes like it's such a natural thing to do. It's so much fun.
It happens.
Do you have a favorite song from the album?
Oh wow, man. I got to tell you, I happen to love both of Joseph Williams' songs, and it took me a couple of minutes because they start out very, gently. And I love Firepower, very honestly. I think Firepower is awesome. But I love Hard as a Rock, which is, a little, and that was the thing that Kamal Peterson did, where it was pre, having to be PC, right? So if you think you listen to Hard as a Rock, there's some sexual connotations in there. Let's just say that, Luke. But it's a super fun song. I love Don't Quit. I mean, honestly, I love all the 8 songs because I was so intimately involved in them that we could have changed anything we wanted to have changed, but the flow of the album is so nice. The songs stand on their own. The 2 Jimmy Cliff tunes are sensational. Leslie Smith doing what he does, and Max St. Louis. I couldn't have gotten better artists to do those songs. And I mean, and obviously Pump It Up from Michael Sembello.
Yeah,
just great. All great. I can't pick one. It's like when you say, Jake, you got 4 kids. Who's your favorite?
Right.
Come on, you can't. It's
impossible.
I love my daughter Morgan, who lives here now. By the way, we're here visiting her. It's a pleasure. She's been here now about a year, and love in London. I got 3 boys, 2 in New York, and one a senior at USC back home at the film school, finishing up. But and just like my 8 cuts of music, I love them all equally.
That's definitely true with any time you got family. That's how it always works. Speaking of that, and speaking of artists, if you were to have a contemporary artist recut any of the songs in the album, and I say family because I don't know if there's a song that Haley would want to recut from this 8, but literally it could be her, could be anyone who is currently popular on the radio, streaming. Who would you like to have redo what from this album?
Wow. You know what's interesting, Luke? That's a great question. I've been thinking about this, and what I have been finding is that, well, my youngest guy, Luke, like you, is a DJ, and they started sampling some of the songs, and some of their DJ friends are sampling some of the songs, and I almost wanted to be, look, my whole life and career, I've never been able to in my career walk through the front door. Everything I've ever done, I've always had to make my own creative way. And I think it would be a cheat to have an incredible artist right now do a song. I want to see what's going to happen. And it's starting to happen where DJs are starting to sample some of this music. I mean, look, there's a great guy, E40, who I happen to love. He's become a friend. There's another great producer. He has his name is City Under Siege, and he's a guy I've come to know. And he's got a lot of these young artists coming out of Atlanta, and I'd love to hear a take from a young up and comer and what they would do with it. That to me, once again, I'm always about, how could you pay it forward? How could you give a shot to somebody else, as opposed to some superstar doing a sample of "Don't Quit."
It's really sort of the essence of the original album, in a way.
That's exactly it, and that's how I live my life. I mean, as I said, I've been here doing presents and seeing my daughter. I was in New York, and then the last 2 weeks before that, I put fitness centers in elementary and middle schools around this great country of ours. So that's my gift back. I've been chair of the National Foundation for Governors Fitness Councils, and each year I choose 4 states called Governor's Cold, and this year, as a matter of fact, we did Idaho, Nebraska, North Dakota, and South Dakota, which puts me at 42 states completed. We've done Wisconsin a few years back with 8 to go, and incredible sponsors like Coca-Cola, Nike, Anthem, who goes by Elevance Health now, and Wheels Up, and they've been supporters of mine since 2006. So giving back is a big thing. Making people happy is a big part of what I'm about, and living Don't Quit, man.
Body by Jake, Don't Quit, music from the original video soundtrack. Back out on streaming, all sorts of opportunities for people to listen to it. Thank you for taking time to chat. This has been such a blast this morning. This has been, or afternoon overseas. It's been great. It's been great.
You are awesome. And then, hey, listen, I'm just building up the base now. So I'm on Instagram finally. So at Official Body by Jake, let's get all your millions of followers, man, to jump aboard for some good positive vibes every day. Official Body by Jake. Luke, you're the best.
All right, you too. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Don't quit.